She had video called him every night for 3 months. She knew the curve of his smile. She knew the sound of his laugh when she made a bad joke. She had fallen in love with a man who did not exist, and on the other side of that call was a prisoner, wearing his face like a mask. This isn't a hacker in a basement. It's an industry. Behind razor wire and armed guards, tens of thousands of trafficked workers are forced to run one of the fastest growing criminal economies on Earth, and in 2026, they've been handed a new weapon, your own face, cloned and worn by a stranger. And here's the part almost nobody's talking about yet: the compounds didn't stop at chat scripts. They started hiring people whose entire job is to become someone else on camera. If stories like this keep you up at night the way they keep me up writing them, stick around. That's exactly what the Dark Archive digs into every week. Kim Sawyer was a retired university professor in Melbourne. He wasn't reckless, he was cautious. He wanted one thing: a low-risk plan to protect his pension before retirement. An ad promised exactly that. What followed was months of conversation with someone who felt real, informed, patient, someone who never once raised a red flag. By the time Kim realized nothing about the advisor had ever been true, he and his family had lost over $2.5 million. He later said the scammer was, in his words, extraordinarily believable. That word, believable, is the entire business model. These networks don't need to be clever. They just need to be convincing for long enough. But Kim's advisor never showed his face on a live call. When victims ask to actually see the person they're falling for, that's when the compounds bring out their most disturbing innovation yet. Inside these compounds, there's now a specific job title recruiters advertise for: the AI model. Not a chatbot. A real, trafficked person, often with genuine charisma, put in front of a camera to handle up to 100 live video calls a day. Real-time deepfake software reshapes their face and voice into whoever the victim is expecting to see: a handsome investor, a soft-spoken widow, a soldier stationed overseas. The person underneath the filter didn't choose this job any more than the person typing the messages did. Many are themselves victims of trafficking, beaten and threatened if they fail to perform. The romance you think you're building isn't just fake. It's being forced out of someone else's fear. Here's what almost no other video on this topic mentions: these operations aren't just running romance scripts, some are quietly weaponizing the apps victims are tricked into installing. Security researchers tracing an Android banking Trojan in early 2026 linked it to Cambodia's K99 Triumph City compound, a single facility capable of real-time surveillance, credential theft, and biometric data harvesting, all disguised as a harmless app update. That means a victim doesn't just risk losing money to a fake lover. They risk handing over their fingerprint, their banking credentials, their entire digital identity, all through the same channel used to fall in love. By June 2026, the response finally matched the scale of the threat: a coordinated takedown involving law enforcement alongside Meta, Microsoft, Starlink, and Coinbase. It was one of the largest disruptions of its kind, and still barely scratched the surface. Raids happen. Compounds get shut down. Headlines move on. But researchers tracking the region describe something closer to an arms race than a resolved case. For every compound dismantled, the scale of trafficked labor and stolen billions barely shrinks. Enforcement across the region remains uneven, funding for these networks keeps flowing, and the tools keep getting more convincing, not less. The uncomfortable truth is this: somewhere right now, someone trapped behind that razor wire is putting on a stranger's face, dialing a number, and waiting for someone lonely enough to answer. If this is the first time you've heard how deep this goes, you're not alone, and it's exactly the kind of case this channel exists to dig into properly. Subscribe if you want more of these stories told right, with the details other channels skip. And if the idea of a stolen face unsettles you, wait until you hear next week's case, where the killer wasn't hiding behind a screen at all. He was hiding in plain sight.